everybody. Today we have a photographer, and I'm really excited. And her name is Beth Kukucka. And
Good job. You did really well.
there we go. And she has a couple interesting things to talk about, but we're going to start off with asking some questions, and then maybe she'll go into the projects that she's working on. So just tell the audience today just what how you got into photography, what your journey is as a photographer, and what your love of photography and how what it stemmed from.
Okay. I thought we were going to talk about politics and religion today. I mean, I just not prepared at all for this.
Yeah, well, I don't like to get into that because that can get pretty
Yeah,
heated.
that's another game. My mother was a photographer, not professionally, but she always took pictures at family events. She was always the one that photographed things, with her movie camera and her 8mm camera and this kind of camera. And so at an early age, I think by witnessing her, I learned that, time was honorable and worth preserving. So she was a big influence to me. Even if she cropped people's heads off, you could kind of tell that it was grandma by the dress she was wearing. So that was good enough. And so it taught me that, that time is worthy of preservation.
Right. That's true. Now, did you actually, now this is probably off the question list, but did you have like schooling for this that taught you some of the basics
Yeah, I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh where I made some really good friends and did a lot of partying. and I learned some studio techniques that I didn't pay much attention to, but that I recall as I need. It was a great experience. It was the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. But I just kind of, I stole my mother's camera when I was 6. I stole one of her cameras, borrowed it. I borrowed it. And I photographed, I walked around the neighborhood telling people I was on assignment with Life magazine. So this was like in 1967 or something. And, when she got the film developed back in film days, she was like, who are all these people? And why is Mrs. Sokolis in this, this roll of film? And so at an early age, I just felt an authentic interest in documenting life.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah,
it certainly has changed with digital. I mean, it's so much easier now. Now, I'm going to go into some of my stuff. My daughter, she had taken a class, and this was years ago up at CCAC Community College, and they learned how to develop film because at that time film was the thing. Well, now she's in college and she's taking a photography class now. So she's learning, like how you did, but it's unfortunately we don't have the Art Institute anymore, and it's a shame.
I know. It was a good place for a while. But the advantage to digital is you really can play and experiment. Back in film day when I was doing that, it's at 6 years old, it was at a cost. And now you can just delete and play.
Right.
So it's an advantage. There is something really magical, though, about being in a dark room and, watching the image appear.
Yes.
I think we'll probably get back to that at some point, I suspect.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting concept to see that, and she said it just feels so different not doing that now, like the difference in how it's done. And she works, I guess she's using Lightroom right now. I don't know if that is anything to like Photoshop. It's nothing like that, but that's what they're using. So
software,
yeah. So so the earliest memory was when you were young. You said you were 6?
6 years old, yeah.
Oh. That's impressive, though.
I was sitting there, and I knew it was loaded with film, so nothing was stopping me from taking it.
Now, did you ever, since you were saying you were doing this for Life magazine, did you ever do anything for Life magazine?
No, that was a dream of mine. I did submit my work there when I lived in New York for a short time, and that in itself was an honor.
To be able to.
I never worked for Life magazine. I did work for Time magazine. Had some things published in Time and People magazine, Rolling Stone. But not Life magazine. But walking through those doors with my portfolio was just, it was an honor and not free.
Yeah. Well, you still work for some significant magazines there, Time and People. That's
They were
interesting.
all a privilege for sure.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Now, do you have like do you prefer certain kinds of photography, like events or portraits, or what kind of things do you capture usually?
I'm so nervous. Let me just take a minute.
Don't
How
be
do you
nervous.
do this? How do you talk to a camera? I mean, it's so easy on the other side, but
Yeah,
when you're being photographed and filmed, so just give me. Okay, so what was the question? I'm sorry.
that's all right. That's okay. Oh, don't be nervous.
It's just my nature. But, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm okay. I just
you're
thought
doing
I'd
good.
blow it out.
Yeah. So, so you don't prefer any type, like an event?
I did events for most of my career,
Hmm.
and that being 20 years, solid weddings, mostly, some events here and there, but mostly weddings. On
Hmm.
solo shooter for about 20 years, sometimes 2 or 3 weddings a weekend. I'm not sure how I did it. It was a lot of work, but there was a lot of passion behind it too. So that was my
Hmm.
preference until COVID hit, and then that
Hmm.
was a game changer with things
Yeah.
canceled. They're just now starting back up.
Hmm.
I found that in the interim, having been given a break from it, even against my will, I found that I'm interested in other things now, personal projects rather than 8-hour weddings. Nothing wrong with that. There's so much I love about weddings and events. Grandeur, the fashion,
Hmm.
the excitement and emotion.
Right.
But it's a lot of responsibility. And when I let
Mhm.
myself think about it, I would just panic because if you blow a wedding, 200
Mhm.
people hate you for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah.
That never happened, but it was always a
Mhm.
responsibility. So, long answer to your question, my initial interest was in weddings and events and,
Mhm.
documentary style, candid approach.
Mhm.
But now they're kind of turning into personal projects.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we all changed through this COVID because I used to like to, do some of my artwork and like enter exhibits and things like that. I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to do it for my own fun.
Yeah,
I
it's a
just,
game changer. There was something about, I don't know,
mhm.
COVID just kind of leveled the playing field of
Right.
trying to keep up and trying to do, at least for me, trying to keep up with what was popular and what was marketable. And
Yeah.
COVID, just gave me a time out
Yeah.
long enough for me to say, I don't really care about those things anymore. Not to the degree I once did.
Right, right, exactly. That's how I feel too. Even to be in like organizations. I mean, I kept two that I still belong to, but I'll tell you what, but I don't exhibit. I just decided I don't want to do that anymore. You get to that point and I don't know what it is,
I
but
understand. Yeah, it changed things. Yeah.
yeah, it really did. I mean, yes, it did. It did. So, well, let me ask you another question here. Do you have a favorite camera that you use or favorite lens that you use when you're doing your work?
I like to be unobtrusive, so I prefer my 300 millimeter lens. But truthfully, I couldn't even tell you the equipment I have. I know I shoot with Nikon. I know I
Mhm.
have basic lenses. But sometimes when I'm with other photographers, they say, "Oh, what kind of Z-Babadoobah are you using?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Mhm.
A photographer friend of mine once said, you're like this. He was also a musician. He said, you're like this musician I used to work with. He was this old guy that would walk in with this beat up bass and everybody, I'd plug it in and it would spark and everybody would laugh. And then, plug it in and he'd just jam.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
he said, you're like that. You don't know what you're using or even how to use it. You never read the manual on anything, but you know how to,
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's inner ability. I think it's that's like me. I mean, you just kind of come up with things, and it's just the feeling that you have, and you know what you need.
you
So,
follow the passion and the
right.
passion just kind of shows you what you need to do next. At least that's
Yeah,
been my experience. And
exactly.
with the forgiveness of digital, if you blow something technically, you can reshoot it. But I really just go with the passion of the moment rather than
Hmm.
figuring out what I'm doing technically.
Hmm. Well, that's good. That's nice. Okay, I like that. It's really artsy.
Okay. But
um,
it makes my colleagues just go, I don't know. You don't even know what camera you're using. Yeah, I stopped caring about that long ago.
yeah. Well, I guess I have the wrong camera because I kind of use the Canon. if I'm doing any shoots, but uh, it
But
depends.
this is the camera, really.
Yeah, really, that's it. I mean, I don't know how to use it. I do the auto setting. I mean, forget
Yeah.
about everything else. And if
Yeah,
you,
I tend to, I don't shoot in auto, but I shoot in very, like, I tell my camera, you figure out the details and I'll work on the creativity. I don't want to figure anything out. So
yeah.
I fist pump to you, Mary.
Okay. Oh, I don't think you can see it. Okay. So,
You're
let me ask.
delightful, by the way.
Oh,
You're
thanks.
delightful. Yeah.
Well, I wished I wouldn't laugh so much, but
No,
people seem to like
it's
that.
endearing. It's really, it's cute if you don't.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thank you. Yes, yeah, somebody told me they just love the way I interview because I laugh and everything, and I'm thinking, "Oh, geez."
I'm starting to relax, so that's
Okay,
really,
so
that's
that's
good. Yeah.
good. That's yeah, you get used to it, and then we're not live, so
Mm,
that makes a big difference too.
okay.
Um, what is the most emotional experience that you have, uh, with your photography? Like, what is the most
Uh,
thing that was very emotional for you?
Well, the first thing that came to mind was early on when LGBTQ weddings were legalized. They were
Mhm,
first in Massachusetts, and I was living there at the time. So I had the market on on gay weddings, same sex
mhm,
weddings, and early on, and this was like in 2006 or seven, I think it was. Early on, if family members showed up at all, they'd sit there with a scowl because it was just it's
yeah.
it was like the Titanic just slowly beginning to change,
Oh, dear.
and it's still
Yeah.
changing. But early on, there was one wedding I did where it was two men, and the one man's I might get emotional here. The one man's family didn't show up at all. Nobody
Oh,
showed up. So
oh,
when it was the father, when it was the mother's son dance, because it was two men marrying, the mother of the other husband also danced with this man who her new son-in-law,
yeah.
and they just cried. They just
Aw,
didn't even dance. They just, and so I've got all these pictures of just like real emotion. Like
yeah,
the woman was his mother for that time, and
yeah.
it was the grief and it was just everything.
Aw,
That's the most
yeah,
emotional moment I've experienced.
right. Well, now originally, are you from Pittsburgh or,
In the Johnstown, Altoona area, small
okay.
town Evansburg. Yeah. So
Yeah, that area.
I lived in Los Angeles and New York, and
Mhm.
where else?
Massachusetts, you said?
Thank you. Thank you. They all kind of blend together after a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, do you know the, TK Mondock?
No.
Everybody seems to know him, but he's from that area. Well, they do a lot of, well, there it's a band,
Mm,
and, I think it's called Black Cat Moan, and they do a lot of stuff in Johnstown.
okay. The coolest band name I've ever heard was Zuzu's Petals. Do you remember that band? They were from Pittsburgh.
No.
You know the movie It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Zuzu's Petals was a moment from the band from the movie, and I just thought it was so cool that a band would name
Yeah,
themselves Zuzu's Petals. Anyway,
yeah,
I
yeah.
digress.
Kinda interesting, yeah. I mean, some of these bands, they name different they're really unique,
Yeah, I
how
bet
they come up
you
with the
hear about
name.
them too. Yeah, you interview them. You
Yes,
like to hear all
yes.
the details.
Right, right, it's interesting. So, well, now we're at the part where I wanted to hear more about your most recent
Politics and
project.
religion? Politics and religion?
Yes. Yes. Yes, that always is a good topic. Yeah, I don't wanna get into that now.
Sorry to
I'm
keep teasing
sorry.
you
I
about
know
it.
you're dying to talk about that, but yeah, I just wanted to hear more about your, latest project, really.
Okay, yeah,
If it airs on that side, I mean, go ahead.
well, it is a kind of a project documentary on diversity in one sense. It's called Behind the Mask,
Mhm,
and it's a pandemic photography project that documents basically who we are behind the mask. I take two pictures of the subject,
mhm.
and I've photographed anyone from families. So I photographed my own family reunion, which was just a bunch of people all wearing a mask and then taking it off. Individuals. Um, Go to my website to see more about it, but I take two pictures, one with the mask on, one with the mask off, and I ask the subject, who are you behind the mask, behind the details of your life, where you live or what you do or how old you are, um, Well, nobody wants to talk about how old they
Yeah,
are.
no, I hate to talk about age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
And so I recently did a cross country trip where I documented the country to the best of my ability.
Oh,
I want to do another one this summer, I hope.
yeah, that
Um,
would be interesting.
just the farmer in Kansas, who is he behind his mask? The cashier in Denver, who is she behind her mask? And
Nice.
yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting project. It's ongoing. I'll document until we no longer wear masks or we put them away permanently, because even if we're not wearing them, we still have them in our back pockets.
Right,
Found
right,
that this summer when I did the cross country trip, a lot of people weren't wearing them, but they had them.
right.
So
Well, right now, I mean, I have all my shots and all that, but I still wear the mask because I'm so afraid
yeah,
because of my age. Unfortunately, you start to think about, well, what could this do to you if you do get it? Because so many people I know have passed away from it. So,
yeah, it's a game changer.
right,
Um,
right.
so,
So,
so anyway, I found the opportunity with everything else shutting down, crickets in my business. I just thought, well, what can I do with this?
yeah.
And it began when I was in a grocery store
Uh-huh.
one day, and there was a family of 6 all wearing masks, and this was early in the pandemic. And I thought, this is going to be the new norm. It's
Mhm.
kind of an awareness that this wasn't going to go away anytime soon. And so
Right.
there was a little toddler, and then up to the father, and I thought, these kids aren't going to know people's faces, and I
Yeah.
felt bad. And I thought, well,
Mhm.
who are we behind our masks?
Right,
Who are
right.
we? So I started asking the question, beyond the superficiality of who you are physically. But the interesting thing about the project is that I'm showing it in 2 different ways. One is a video that shows the transition between mask and unmask,
Mhm.
followed by the quote of the subject. And then I had a beautiful exhibit of, I think, 60 pieces here at the Oringer Arts Building, the gallery
Mm.
here in Braddock,
Oh,
just showing the pictures side by side along with the quotes. So it's being shown in 2 different ways. I kind of like to take it on the road as kind of a speaking thing.
yeah.
You know?
I think
Um,
that would be very interesting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
ultimately, I'd like to present it in book form to the Library of Congress. I'd
Oh,
like to
yeah.
be,
Yeah.
considered as part of a documentary on this pandemic.
Right. That
So,
I think that would be such a interesting,
it would be the
yeah,
honor of a lifetime. It would
right.
surpass Life magazine. It would make Life magazine all okay.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, when you come up with these things, these ideas, and I mean, it is definitely something that you don't think about, what is behind that mask,
Who are we? Yeah, I
Yeah,
asked
I mean,
myself
'cause
that question. Who am I really behind?
yeah, yeah,
There's so many things. And in the cross country trip, I found that as diverse as the country is and as opinionated as we are, especially these days, behind our masks, we miss each other. We care about each other. We have
yeah,
families. We really mean no harm, even if we have very differing opinions. There was
mhm,
my favorite story is there was a farmer in Kansas who I stopped to photograph, and he wouldn't wear a mask. He said, "I'm not wearing a GD mask, and I'm not effing this and that."
yeah,
And so I said, okay, well, can I photograph you just without your mask? And can I quote you on exactly what you want to say? And he said, all right. So he's the only one that doesn't have a mask in this series. In his quote, I won't say it on the air, a lot of F's and stuff. He said, I'm not wearing a goddamn mask, and you can tell Biden to go F himself. So he told me that.
oh my goodness.
And I said, well, thank you for being part of this. And he said, the only time I wear a mask is when I'm in service. And I said, oh, what do you do? And he said, I'm a firefighter. And I said, well, thank you. Thanks for being a firefighter. Because in that moment, I knew that, before he jumped into a burning building, he didn't ask if you're Democrat or Republican. He didn't ask
Right,
if you believe in masks or not. He's
right,
probably sacrifices his own life to save others. And so we connected on that level. And before he
mhm,
left, he said, you drive safe. And I thought, that's who we
ah,
are.
right,
That's who we are behind our masks.
yeah. And sometimes, it takes something like what you're doing to bring out the real person, because
Yeah. When
there's
he
a
asked,
lot of people, when they put that mask on, they're totally different anyways.
yeah,
They can be It's like being online. I mean,
yeah,
people will say the rudest things to you when you're online, but if you see them face to face, or if they're covered,
yeah.
are they the same?
Yeah, and
You
some
know?
people feel safer actually behind the mask. I photographed a couple of autistic people who said, "Oh, I'm used to living behind a mask. This is just a visual
Mhm,
representation of what I live with every day." And so it's just an interesting. It continues to be an interesting perspective on not only our diversity but the ways that we're very similar. We're all made from the same cookie dough. basically.
Yeah, yeah. That's nice. That's nice. That's a good thought, to have that. Well, now, we're gonna kind of wrap this up, but how will people be able to touch base with you if they're interested in any kind of photography?
Oh, um, I decided long ago not to have kukuchkaphotography.com.
Oh,
So
okay.
my website is easy. It's Beth K Photo, BETHK
Okay.
photo.com. Um, Kukuchka Photography on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And even more simply, I have kind of an alternate website that connects to my photography website. It's called LoveGod. So
Okay.
that website is lovegod.shop.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'll put all those links in our
thanks.
information section too, so that people can view your sites and hopefully get in touch with you, because I think you'd be an interesting person to
Oh,
be a
thanks.
photographer, for us. So,
And also, I'm still looking for, I'm not looking for more subjects, but I'm always open to photographing people. I like diversity. So if you have like a big family that would all be willing to wear the mask and then take it off, or if you're like I just recently photographed a transgender male, which was
mhm,
a real honor for me. So I'm looking for anything diverse that really shows, because it's not just the story that I want to hear or the quote that I'm interested in. It's the transition that I want to show.
mhm, mhm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's out there listening to this, hopefully they will. My family is very small.
Aw.
It's,
Well, this is
I
open
only
to
have a
anybody.
few in my family, so.
I even photographed a dog, so it's open to
Oh, is
anybody.
that right? Well, I have a dog that's a little crazy if you want.
Yeah. Oh, I have one too. Do you want to switch for a week?
Yeah.
Who
Oh,
wants their dog back? Yeah.
yeah, this dog, I mean, I got him from Puerto Rico.
Oh,
He was a rescue, and he is a real trip.
is he a Chihuahua?
No, no, he's not. I don't know
He's a
what he
little
is.
one.
Yeah,
It's
he's
the
little.
little ones, man. The little ones are nuts.
Yeah, he's a Shih Tzu, I think, and part Shih Tzu. And then I
Okay.
have another dog that is a Bichon, which is very tame and very lovable and so cute. And then he comes along and he's like this frisky thing that, I mean, he's like a kid. Likes to play. He probably never did. Hates the snow. Doesn't want to go out there in that snow. He just like looks at it and turns the other way. It's so weird.
Our dogs are from the same breed. Yeah. I tell my dog, when you go away to college, I will write to you, but I won't I mean, I'm not mean about
Yeah,
it, but
I know.
it's so exhausting being with a dog that's got so much energy and so much chaos.
Yeah. I mean, it's like having a little baby and, being older, it's, and he loves to bark at everything. I think you might have heard him before. So,
Yeah, mine too.
yeah. And my Sally, she's just so cute and just so quiet.
Hmm.
So it's a big difference. But,
He's probably like, "Hey, mom, why'd you get this one from
well,
Puerto Rico?"
she looks at me like, what did you do? So, well, it's really nice talking with
Oh,
you.
you too, Mary. Thank you.
I really enjoyed this, and I'm sure my audience will enjoy it also. This will be on Saturday at 7 o'clock
Okay.
on YouTube, and I will definitely send you the link
Thank
for
you.
this too. Okay.
This was
All
a
right.
real pleasure, and thank
Oh,
you so much for the opportunity.
oh,
You're just adorable. You're so
oh,
cute. So thank you.
thank you.
Thanks. You put
Well,
me right
thank
at
you very
ease.
much.
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I mean it's fun for me, so
Thanks
I
for
hope
doing
that.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving us the chance to hear each other's stories.
Yeah, I'm glad I heard yours. It's really nice. So, well,
Thank you.
thanks again. All righty.
Blessings. Thank you.
Blessings and stay safe.
Thank you too.
Thank you.